Oh, great. This should be a fun one, right? What is going on, y'all? It is the caveman. Yeah, so we're here. We're gonna talk about this game. We're gonna rip the band-aid right off. Get our post-game reactions out, as it has unfolded. That was a tough one, a tough pill to swallow, to say the least. Um, yeah, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. A lot I want to cover regarding this game, and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this together. I promise. All right, we're gonna have a hard time. Yeah, sad, pain, heartbreak, suffering, um, disgust, confusion, just disbelief. I mean, the amount of adjectives that I can give this game to describe how I feel right now. It's a large list. Wow. Uh, wow. Okay, so I'm gonna decide where I want to start with this game, and then we're gonna work down the line between the positives and the negatives. Of course, I want everybody to chime in with their opinions, their thoughts, their opinions. This is gonna be a show ran by you guys, and we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get through this together, man, because we're all gonna be suffering in cohesiveness, if that's even the right freaking word. I don't know what I'm even saying at this point. It's a lot to take from this game. Starting from the beginning, which looked very good. We looked dominant. We looked like a team that was ready to come out and prove a narrative wrong as to what we've seen from them in the last couple of weeks. They looked like a team ready to bounce back. We go up 27-10. We have this game, what seems to be in a chokehold, right? And things slowly started to go down the drain. Um, and the things that started to happen began to compile quick. It started with the Dalvin Cook 81-yard run, and then the Josh Allen pick in the end zone on that 4th and 2. It was also the Diggs. Diggs had a relatively big drop. It was a very tough catch to make, but a pretty big drop on the sideline and a big third down. There's a lot, man, a lot that went down in that second half that really did us in, to say the least. Man, I don't even know what to say. Like, honest to God, I'm really at a loss for words. I'm I'm past the point where I'm getting angry about these games, because I feel like anger is doing nothing for the rest of my day. And for a regular season game, I'm really trying not to let this ruin my day, but at the same time, I'm just confused from what we saw from an offensive standpoint. The entire second half, it just seemed like we were lost. We couldn't run the ball anymore, and that seems to be a theme. Josh Allen seemed to be a little on edge. The offensive line would collapse at points. Things just stopped going in our favor in the second half. Um, and I guess I'm just confused. I just saw a stat that actually said the Bills have not um, scored a touchdown in the second half since like week 6 against the Chiefs. I mean, that's a stat, man. These are games. We need to be coming out and finishing. And this is a narrative that I feel like we talked about a lot last year. We weren't able to go out and finish games in the second half. We would let teams hang around. And for one reason or another, we let teams hang and we let teams squeak in, and then in instances like this, we let a better team than what we've been playing lately hang around too long, and they made us pay for it. The Packers, this past Packers game too, we let them hang around, believe it or not. It's just the Packers aren't good offensively. I think the Vikings are as big of frauds as they come, but you know, it's just a matter of letting a team that is good enough, allowing them to hang. Um, Man, I'm trying to get this stupid tweet out. I'm sorry, I'm like kind of distracted trying to get this. Um, yeah. Man, hold on. Let me get this tweet out. I need to get this out so I can actually focus. Wow. Post game live. Man. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about it, guys. This is not acceptable. We should not have lost this game. The decision making was horrendous. It's a lot to break down. Totally, Kim. I don't understand the play calling. That's something I also want to touch on. Of course, one of the biggest plays in this game was the first down sneak on our own goal line. Was that the right decision? Josh obviously botched it, but is that what we should have been doing when we were as close to the end zone as possible? You know, is there a better instance where we figure out how to move the ball there? Could we potentially, I was discussing it with my family. Do we have Josh line up in shotgun? We design a rollout so Josh has the opportunity to throw the ball away without taking an intentional grounding. I mean, he's not going to get sacked in an instance like that. There's an opportunity for a quick dump off, like somebody can run, like a level concept on the edge, on the boundary, have somebody go out, two guys running, sharp outs at the sideline, and then have to run on a corner toward the safety, and you have Josh have options, and you can either have Josh dump it off, or he can run, of course, or he can throw it away if he has to. I mean, if the clock stops there, it's really not the end of the world. They had a timeout anyway that they were going to be able to conserve. There was just a lot of different things where we got confused. Did you think we should have ran? I think running the ball in that specific scenario is pretty much suicide, only because Josh turns it around and the way they were stacking the box. I mean, we don't get push as is. This offensive line doesn't get pushed 55% of the time in the first place. So to expect them to get pushed on that play when the Vikings were so obviously expecting something of the sort, I think running the ball there, is suicide. I would have been pissed if we just straight up turn around and hand the ball off. I would have lost my mind, to be perfectly honest. Shotgun to have Josh roll right. Yeah, I mean, I think, in the heat of the moment, the obvious play call is probably to have Josh sneak it just because you got a 6'5" quarterback. All he needs to get is an inch, force the Vikings to use a timeout, and then maybe you have, a little bit more room to work with. But, shotgun, I think hindsight says on that play where, you're on your own goal line, roll out Josh, run, like I said, run a levels concept. If there's a dump off, Josh can take it. He can run if he has the opportunity, and he can throw it away. So I think that play call is definitely deserving of being under the microscope. But whether or not the sneak I don't think the sneak was a bad call per se. It obviously just ended up being disastrous. But in defense of Ken Dorsey, who I didn't think called a great game, most teams are probably calling a sneak there. And when we have a guy like Josh Allen, you're going to call a sneak, often. I don't hate that. We also struggled in, once again, struggling on third down in the defensive side of the ball. I think, Justin Jefferson deserves a lot of credit for the game he had today. I mean, everybody wants to talk about how bad our secondary is, which is true considering the injuries. Everybody wants to talk about how bad our defense was on third down. At the end of the day, I think the way that we can sit with this is that Justin Jefferson is just one hell of a receiver, and he was making plays for his football team when he needed to. I mean, that Vikings team without Justin Jefferson doesn't stand a chance in that game. And sometimes star players show up when they are needed most. And we had our star players show up when we needed them most sometimes. But Justin Jefferson, every single time that Kirk Cousins called his name, every time, I might add, he was there. I mean, it was a remarkable game. If we have Jordan Poyer / Micah Hyde, something tells me this doesn't happen. Just an inkling. But at the end of the day, we need to give Justin Jefferson credit. Kirk Cousins was delivering the ball to him where it needed to be so Justin Jefferson can make a play. I mean, if us as Bills fans are going to be able to move on from this loss, we just have to accept the fact that, sometimes star players make big plays in big moments to keep their teams alive. And we have our players that do the same things in the same scenarios. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. I guess for me personally, where I'm at with this game for the most part is I'm just kind of worried about Josh's mental state. He's obviously struggled since the second half of the Packers game. Obviously the Jets game wasn't great. And now this, I'm really worried about where Josh is mentally. He's a professional athlete. He's dealt with adversity before. This is not like necessarily new territory for him. But now, after a game like this where he had opportunity after opportunity to make a difference, and he doesn't, he deserves criticism. Josh Allen's our golden boy. It sucks to put him under the microscope and really dissect what he's done wrong over the last couple of weeks and what he could have done differently, or really criticize him. It hurts to do because I love the guy. He has the best of intention. He's such a kind human being, man, and it hurts to look at him and think, like, what the hell, man? Like, what are you doing? And most of the time I want to give him slack, but today was, especially on that final drive, was an inexcusable mistake. We have an opportunity to drive down the field in overtime after the defense made a number of just ridiculous stops. He fumbles the ball in the end zone. Vikings get a touchdown, and the defense makes a stop at the top of overtime. As much as the defense was not able to slow down the Vikings offense, they made plays when they really, really needed to. There were a lot of conversions that shouldn't have happened, but when push came to shove, the defense made the biggest plays to give our offense a chance to win. And that included the top of overtime when we once again lost a coin toss. And the Vikings are driving down the field at will, still can't stop Justin Jefferson. Suddenly Dalvin Cook is once again gashing us. And then we get Dalvin Cook. We drop him behind the line of scrimmage for a loss. It's 2nd and 10, sack Kirk Cousins, and then 3rd down's an incompletion. So, I mean, they did their job. They might have wasted a lot of time. But still, they did their job. Justin says, I'm tired of these unnecessary losses that could be avoided. Leslie Frazier is so damn stubborn and never changes his defensive schemes. I say it all the time. I'm not necessarily an X's and O's guy. I understand the game foundationally. I'd have to watch the film, which I don't do often, to be honest, to really understand what was going on in the secondary. But it just felt like we had to get to a point where, Justin Jefferson needs to be doubled at all times. It got to a point where, I don't care. You have to make Kirk Cousins and the Vikings beat us with someone else. You have to make Kirk Cousins throw it to someone else to beat us. We have to. I mean, Justin Jefferson was the sole reason why that offense really was able to make a play in the biggest situations. And it just felt like we weren't focusing our attention as much toward Justin Jefferson as we should have been. Like I said, it got to a point where, I'd much rather have KJ Osborne beat someone one-on-one on the outside, or have TJ Hockenson catch the ball at the sticks, or Adam Thielen, beat someone over the top. I'd much rather have any of that than to have Justin Jefferson just continuously beat whoever he's gotten one-on-one. I mean, most of the catches that Justin Jefferson was making, he was beating one guy. All he had to do was beat one of our second stringers, whether it was Benford or it was whoever else was covering him all game. I mean, I'm drawing blanks as to who was even guarding him. Cam Lewis was obviously a big culprit. Whoever Justin Jefferson was beating, he only had to beat one guy, and it was you. And obviously, it was a second stringer. So, while I do think Leslie Frazier is a great defensive coordinator, while I do think for the most part his defense is what even gave us a chance in this game, there were times where I'm just thinking to myself, we really need to just drop everything and put 2 or 3 guys on Justin Jefferson. You sometimes just got to simplify the game, man. Stop the guy that's hurting you the most, and it felt like we weren't able to do that. Andrew says, my doctor has diagnosed me with laryngitis after this game. My doctor has diagnosed me with amnesia because I am doing my best to forget every single second of what happened in that second half. Daniel, congratulations. I do think the Vikings are still frauds, but Justin Jefferson has definitely moved up my wide receiver list, and I'm starting to think the Bills have entered the potential fraudulent conversation, only because we deserve it. I mean, I think that's a fair statement, whether you like it or not. Golden says, Von Miller did good, but we need more people. This was an interesting point all game. Did the Bills get enough pressure? I thought the Bills got a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins today. We forced 2 interceptions. Pressure was because Kirk Cousins threw 2 interceptions. But it was frustrating to see him get the ball away in instances where, it felt like we should have been bringing him to the ground, or, the pressure was there. It felt like a 2021 Buffalo Bills defensive game. Defensive line game, I should say, if that makes sense. A whole lot of pressure, getting to the quarterback and, making life hard for him, but not necessarily getting him to the ground. And it did get frustrating at points. But on the other hand, like I mentioned, Von Miller had a huge sack when we needed it. We did it, and we had a big sack at the top of overtime. We were getting pressure. We forced 2 interceptions by Kirk Cousins because of the pressure. So I do think the pressure was there. I think the pressure was sustainable today. I think at the end of it all, my opinion lies on Justin Jefferson just having his way with a beat up secondary, and we weren't doing enough to compensate for the domination that he was having on us. I mean, it's simple as that from a defensive standpoint for me. We might have been a little bit too stubborn and, weren't able to shift our attention enough to Jefferson. We should have been forcing other guys like KJ Osborne. We should have been forcing guys like TJ Hawkinson, guys like Adam Thielen to have to make a play in a big spot where Kirk couldn't even think of throwing the ball to Jefferson's side. But every single time Jefferson made a play, he had a chance. I mean, it got to a point where we should not have been even giving Jefferson the light of day to have a chance to even be looked at by Kirk. But time and time again, jump ball to Jefferson, out to Jefferson, whatever the case is, he just always was somewhere making a play. And I just feel like it did get to a point where we were a bit stubborn to Justin's point. Raymond, what's going on, man? Bills should never have lost that game, and I'm a Jets fan. They should have run the ball in the second half and taken the safety at the goal line. To your point, Raymond, we can't run the ball. In the first half it works, in the second half it doesn't, and then we get away from it and we get lost. We have a big issue offensively running the ball in the second half. So to that point, as far as the safety goes at the goal line, we were discussing the play call earlier, Raymond. I think the knee-jerk reaction, the knee-jerk play call there is always a sneak with a 6'5" quarterback that's as big as Josh Allen. So I don't hate the play call necessarily, but hindsight says there was probably a better decision to be made there. We were talking about it earlier. You line up Josh in shotgun, you roll him out right, you have a levels concept on the sideline. He can either, he can find someone open that gets separation. Josh can run. Josh can throw it away. He might, the clock might stop, but that's fine. Josh is not getting sacked in that situation. He will get the ball away one way or another, or he will run out of the end zone if he has to. But at the same time, the safety, I don't know if the safety necessarily gets us out of the woods either. Then it's a 27-25 game. The Vikings were doing enough offensively to move down the field and get into field goal range. So they would have had about 50 seconds left. By the time they got the ball back, hypothetically, if the Bills did take a safety, they would have had about 50 to 45 seconds, I believe. And with the sake of a punt after a safety, they probably start with the ball around the 25 or the 30, like a typical touchback or a kickoff. They had one timeout, or maybe they would have taken it prior. But, I don't think we get out of the woods if they have a safety. Truthfully, I think if the Bills end up taking a safety there, the Vikings drive down the field and get into field goal range, and Greg Joseph does us in, to be honest. So the whole safety thing, I'm not huge on it just because of the way the Vikings were moving the ball on offense in the second half. I think they still win when we take a safety. So I'm not huge on that point personally. But to the first point you made, we can't run the ball. I mean, that's the bottom line. We can't run the ball when we need to. We get into these mindsets where we try to run the ball to run timeout. It happened in some of the earlier drives in the third quarter. We can't. We set ourselves behind the sticks, with a handoff to Devin Singletary on 1st and 10 that gets no gain. And then all of a sudden it's second and 10, and you either have, an incompletion or a dump off that goes for a yard or two. And then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. So yeah, a lot to unpackage, man. I can't comprehend these play callings on both sides. Yeah, it was not Ken Dorsey's best game. Ken Dorsey needs to be able to supplement for the lacking offensive ability in the second half, man. I mean, the only way we move the ball in the second half is by Josh Allen's legs. It's that, and that's it. Josh Allen, the way he's been passing lately, the decision making has not been there. So you take out the fact that we can't run the ball, our offense becomes Josh Allen pretty much just scrambling, and he's able to do it. But I think he's putting so much pressure on himself at this point that it's really scary. I'm getting really relatively concerned about Josh Allen's mental state personally. Robert, man, what's going on? Hey, Caveman, the Bills were winning for the majority of the game. They couldn't finish it out. I hate it. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, me too. It really sucks. We had that game. We had the Minnesota Vikings in a coffin. Let's put it bluntly, man. They really did not belong in the same field as us. And oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Actually, to that point, the second half offense for the Vikings also revved up when Tremaine Edmonds got hurt. When Tremaine Edmonds went down, Dalvin Cook had that 81 rip. And then all of a sudden we couldn't stop the run. And that's when Kirk Cousins really starts to get cooking. Kirk Cousins is a simple man. Kirk Cousins likes to have when the run game's working, Kirk Cousins can pass the ball easier. It's a simple concept for Kirk, man. It really is. When the run game isn't working, Kirk struggles. And we saw that in the first half. They had nothing. I think Dalvin Cook had like 5 carries for 13 yards in the first half. Second half, Tremaine goes down. Dalvin Cook rips off the big run. All of a sudden, we can't stop him. All of a sudden, they're gaining yards on the ground, and Kirk Cousins starts to dot us up. So, the Tremaine Edmonds injury was a big one, a really, really big one. So that's something that cannot go overlooked either. We need to remember that this is a defense. If we're going to talk about the defense, that if we're being honest, probably shouldn't have been keeping up with that Vikings offense considering the weaponry, but they were making plays when they had to. This is on the offense, in my opinion, hands down. Mario says, what a game. Both teams are crazy. Let's be honest. Gabe did not catch that ball. He did not catch that ball. You are correct. Would have ended the game? Yes, it would have. Skull, that plane ride back for the Vikings. Yeah, for sure, man. I did not think the Bills deserved to win that game after the second half. It was a miracle we even had the chance to, and credit to the defense for that. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings made the Bills pay for something that we've struggled to do many, many times this year and last year. Put the game away. We go up, we stall out. I mean, we go up 27-10, and all of a sudden our offense can't score. All of a sudden, the offense of the opposing team starts to move down the field, and they slowly inch their way back. So, kudos to the Vikings for making the Bills pay for not being able to put a game away. It's almost been, honest to God, it's almost been a matter of time until this happened to Buffalo, man. I mean, we don't put teams away. We don't. Earlier in the season, the way we were looking, we were putting teams away. We were burying the opposing team, putting them away so this stuff didn't happen. It just hasn't been the case so far in the second half of what we played so far. Josh is the reason they were in it at the end in OT. Yeah, I mean, Josh did what he had to do at points, to his credit. I just don't know what he was thinking on that final drive. Josh Allen is a 2nd and 10, damn near. We were in field goal range, right? So yeah, 2nd and 10 in field goal range, and he's trying to zip a post. We see that route concept a lot, trying to clear out the middle and have Gabe run a post between the two safeties to beat that cover 2 look. And Josh just threw a poor ball on a well-defended Gabe Davis. I think it wasn't Pat Peterson that picked him off. I'm not sure. But we've seen that play work often. I think it's a bread and butter for Gabe and Josh. It's done as well. It was a similar concept, similar throw and catch attempt to how Gabe scored one of his touchdowns against the Chiefs last year. A dart. Josh Allen's got the arm strength, a dart up the middle to Gabe. I mean, that's what he was going for. That's something we've seen work so many times. It was well covered. It should not have been thrown. I don't know why he thought he could zip it in there. It was covered. We need Tre'Davious White to get healthy. Yeah, we need Jordan Poyer and Troy White back a lot more than I could have ever imagined. I mean, there were definitely plays in this game. Although, as much as I think the Bills defense did their job at points, there were also opportunities where the Bills defense could have finished the job for us. Absolutely. Man. What else can we talk about, man? Also, we got too greedy. I don't think I go for that. The 4th and 2 that we didn't kick the field goal on, I'm going for that every time. I'm going for that 9 or 10 times out of 10. We're a high-powered offense. We just maybe need a better play call there. I'm not entirely sure what the play call was. I don't know. Everybody was well covered. Maybe a Josh run. He was running without regard anyway. Line Josh up, run a quarterback sweep. Run a quarterback power, get the 4th and 2, get the 2 yards. Sometimes I think we try to overcomplicate things. If we need a 3rd and short, 4th and short, I made a video about it actually last year, talking about how we have the most broken play, I think, in all of the NFL. One of the most broken plays, in my opinion, is that Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce on the goal line type pitch play. That play works for them every time. We have a similar play in the sense that it works. Like the effectiveness is ridiculous. It gains yards every time. And that's the Josh Allen take the snap, run power to the right, to the left. I've never not seen Josh Allen on quarterback sweep power, whatever the concept. I've never seen that not gain yards ever. There's never been an instance where I've seen that not gain yards. And we've gotten away from that this year, man. Without Brian Dable here, that's one thing I have noticed. The Josh Allen design runs have dissipated. And I think it's a good thing that we're trying to phase them out because we don't want to be relying on that. But at the same time, when you need a play, you go to what is going to work. What has a 99.9% effective rate. What is guaranteeing you the first down. I think Ken Dorsey is, as much as he is a psychopath and, a great play caller and a genius, I think he's overcomplicating things. At the end of the day, you look at your play calling sheet, you almost need to look at it this way. Like if you're playing Madden and you have a 4th and 2, Madden, if there was a Madden suggest page for Ken Dorsey in those situations, the top play would be Josh Allen quarterback power to the right, to the left. It would be that every time, right at the top of Madden suggests or whatever the damn thing is. It would be. I mean, because of that, that's the effectiveness of this play, of just Josh running in general. But that play specifically, like I said, I've never seen it lose yards ever. I've never seen it blown up. Never seen it lose yards. I think there was one instance in the Chiefs game in that divisional round last year where we were running it like crazy, where it only went for like 4 or 5 yards, and I was shocked. I was like, holy shit, that play only went for 4 or 5 yards. It only, put that into perspective. Think about this. We have a play in which I looked at and thought, wow, it only went for 4 yards. Only went for 4 or 5 yards. When you're able to say that about a specific play call you have on your play sheet, considering your personnel, who you have at quarterback, when you're able to say that, that's a weapon that we need to abuse, and we don't. We've gotten away from it, man. Most of the opportunities that Josh Allen has gained on the ground have been because he's scrambling after a broken play. I could be wrong, but the design runs have gone out the window, and it's what makes Josh Allen who Josh Allen is. We have to face the facts, especially right now. Josh Allen right now is not playing at an elite caliber passing level. He's not. The decision-making hasn't been there. So what you need to do, Ken Dorsey, in these situations when he's obviously flustered, the passing game hasn't been working, you need to line Josh up, and you need to tell him to go get those 2 fucking yards. That's all you need to do. I mean, you line him up, heavy set. You tell Josh, you get those 2 yards, man. Do it, take the snap and fucking run. It's just being overcomplicated, I think. And it sucks. This is now what, 8 quarters of football that I have not felt confident about, dating back to the second half of the Green Bay game. 8 quarters we're talking about, and like I said, whether I like it or not, we're entering fraudulent territory. I mean, I hate to face it. It might be a knee-jerk thing to say because I do believe we're still Super Bowl contenders. So I guess fraudulent might be a strong word, but at the end of the day, we deserve whatever fraudulent accusations we get. We do. I mean, and if the case was we lost this game 55-49 or 55-53 because our offense was just putting up so many points, but our defense couldn't make a stop for their lives, then we're not in the fraudulent conversation because, our healthy side of the ball was getting the job done. It's the defensive side of the ball that was hurt, and they made the plays when they had to. It's as simple as that. It just hurts to face the facts. And, we've suffered losses in the past where I've been frustrated and confused and annoyed, but it's never felt like this one, only because a lot of it is on Josh. I usually sit back after a game that feels like this and think, Josh did his job. Josh gave us a chance to win. Josh did this. Josh did that. Josh did everything he could. And today, that's not the case. And that's why this hurts a lot more than I guess it usually does. The loss sucks. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't care that we lost, because that's far from the case. But, it's a regular season game. I think we're going to be fine. I'm just most concerned about Josh and his mental state, because this is a lot to handle. It's a lot of adversity to take on your shoulders at once. Josh Allen has faced a lot of adversity in his career. He's been doubted all the way up to his third, fourth year in the season. I mean, this guy has faced every amount of adversity possible. But now the difference is he's being held to such a high expectation. He's being held to an expectation that, by the public, that he holds himself to. Playing at this MVP caliber, playing at an unstoppable level. That's what he's always held himself to. But now he's feeling the pressure of the outside holding him to that same account, because he's earned it. He has earned that. He's earned that. So, and now he's finding himself in situations where he's having a hard time, bearing, some of the pressure, and it's okay. It's all right. He's going to be fine. But it's definitely concerning, some of the decisions he made today. And that final pick was ugly. It was just so unnecessary. It wasn't like a 4th and 10 where we needed a touchdown, or like a third and 15 where he's trying to force the ball at the sticks. It was a 2nd and 10 in overtime in field goal range, where a field goal ties the game, and we're in okay territory. And he's forcing a ball to Gabe in which was not open, not in the least bit, and it's picked. Wow. Yeah. I mean, there was a stat that, do you guys remember the statistic, which I can't think of off the top of my head, that said Josh Allen hasn't thrown a red zone interception yet? Like, he's been near perfect in the red zone. Like, the dude is he's lethal in there. And now we're getting stymied. Could this be, to another point, could this be the difference we're seeing between Brian Daboll and Ken Dorsey? Something to talk about. This is a great point we can talk about. And let's touch on some of these comments actually real quick. That's crazy. I agree. Jets are going to be in first place after next week. The Bills are in third place in the AFC East, if anybody cared to know. So that's good news. Anyway, the red zone inefficiencies this year, the red zone interceptions, this was not something we saw as much with Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator. All of a sudden, Josh goes from not throwing interceptions in the red zone period to throwing a relatively absurd amount in big spots. Granted, the interception he threw today, when he was targeting Dawson Knox, I didn't hate that interception. He's trying to, he had nowhere to run. He was rolling out, nowhere to run. That was pretty much his only option to throw to. It was 4th and 2. I mean, an interception there, it is what it is. It's just the fact that he returned it 40 yards. That was the part that sucked. But the pick itself wasn't bad, but still, Robert, yeah, here we go. 67 games, 2 picks inside the red zone. Josh Allen has thrown 2 picks inside, 2 picks, last 2 games, 4 picks. Okay. So 4 picks inside the red zone. And, we're looking at a Josh Allen now that has 4 picks. Yeah, I mean, last 2 games, 4 picks. 67 games, 2 picks, last 2 games. Okay, I think I'm reading this right. So last 2 games, 4 picks inside. Yeah, I mean, are we seeing the Ken Dorsey effect? Are we quick to crown Ken Dorsey as a psychopathic genius that is an offensive guru? These inefficiencies are brutal, man. Are the Dolphins in first place? They have to be, right? After their killing win, I would assume they're in first place. But the Bills aren't. The Bills are in third. The Bills are in third place of the AFC East. This loss also heavily reminds me. I'll touch on this real quick. Mike says everything is going to be all right for you. There's only one possible loss on the rest of yours. Yeah, I mean, I am not worried about the Buffalo Bills standing in the. I'm not worried about the Buffalo Bills in the standings right now. It's fine. This loss feels eerily like. Does everybody remember last year how everybody felt when we lost to the Patriots when they didn't throw a pass on our own home turf? Do we remember that feeling? Well, he threw 3 passes, but that's what this feels like to me. This game feels like that to an extent, where, I know we're going to be fine, but it sucks. It really sucks. That's where I kind of find myself thinking to right now. Last year, I was so upset after that Patriots loss on our own home field. So upset. But as the year went on, we caught heat. We did. We caught fire. And we started to get hot at the right time, and that's what matters. We look at this game right now. It's week 10, right? It sucks. It stings. It is what it is. But there's a lot of time. We're looking at a lot of time left on the schedule. The playoffs are what matters. We're going to make the postseason. This defense just needs to get healthy. Josh Allen's got to get right. But, there are concerns. We have red flags to wave. There are a lot of red flags waving right now that need to be addressed. I trust the coaching staff to address it. I trust Josh Allen to fix what he's got to fix. But there are red flags. There are definitely warranted red flags. And all the panicking, all the chaos. I mean, social media this week is going to be so unbearable. I mean, like, when I tell you so unbearable, social media is going to be a hellstorm, a shit show, a dumpster fire. Can someone give me another adjective? It's going to be terrible. I'm not going to be able to go on Twitter, to be frank. Like, I'm not going to want to. I'm not going to be able to. It's going to be unfucking bearable. But it's deserved. It's going to suck. But it's deserved. It's deserved. We deserve to be scrutinized, criticized, put under the microscope. Josh Allen needs to pick his shit up. I love the guy. He needs to get his head out of his ass. The defense needs to get healthy. Justin Jefferson deserves all the praise in the world. Although I will say, the whole I've been seeing, even prior to the game, I was seeing the whole, the Bills lost the Justin Jefferson Stephon Diggs trade. That is one take that will always drive me to the edge of a cliff. The Justin Jefferson Stephon Diggs trade, everybody that says the Vikings won that trade, I instantly want to engage in a physical fist fight. Like, to be honest, I instantly engage in like fight or flight mode when I see people say that the Bills lost the Diggs Jefferson trade, or the Vikings Bills trade, I should say. Like I tense up in my chair. Like, I'll read the take and I'll instantly want to make like a TikTok or something about it, yelling into my screen. And I'll immediately want to go to like a punching bag and start losing my shit, because that's just how upset I get seeing that. Because Stephon Diggs in his own right is remarkable. We all know that. The dude's a top 3 receiver right now. Maybe top 4 after Jefferson's game, because we have to acknowledge what the hell we just fucking watched. But that does not mean we lost a trade. That is one take that I know we're going to see all week on Twitter, and I'm going to lose my shit. I'm not surprised, Cole. I already saw some awful shit on Twitter about. I'm not surprised, man. I mean, there was already somebody in this chat saying Josh Allen blows it again. Well, he blew it. I mean, to say again is ridiculous, but that's just the way people react, man. I mean, any fan base would react. If the Buffalo Bills were reskinned as the Minnesota Vikings, there would be a lot of Minnesota Vikings fans reacting the same way a lot of Bills fans are. It's just the way people work. People look at this game and they're going to think it's the end of the world. They're going to think Josh Allen sucks, no longer top 5. Dude can't handle the pressure, all this other bullshit. It's just social media. Cole says, Dorsey needs to realize that his offense is more than Allen. We practically abandoned the run game after Motor was starting to take off. Motor in the second half, I just thought the run game was dead. The run game was dead in the second half. I think we abandoned it because it doesn't work. It sets us behind the sticks when we don't need it to. I mean, Cole, to your point, what I was talking about earlier actually was, I think in the biggest of moments, Ken Dorsey actually abandons what we're best at and what moves the ball the best for us, and that is Josh Allen running. I'll go back and reiterate it, Cole, just if you missed it. But, we have a play. It's the quarterback sweep, the quarterback power. Josh Allen takes a snap. It's a heavy set, and he runs through an A gap, B gap, probably, B gap. But he runs through the gap. It gets yards every time. It gets yards every time. I've never seen the play actually not get yards. And we find ourselves in 4th and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 4th and 3. We find ourselves in these 3rd and 4th and shorts, and we don't go to our best plays anymore. It seems like Ken Dorsey has kind of thrown out the Josh designed runs out the window. And in some way, that is a good thing, simply because we want to be able to move the ball in other fashions. I get it. But at the same time, when you have a play that works in big moments, you need to use it. When you have a play that has an effectiveness of 99.9%, you need to use it. I was saying that I used this analogy earlier. If Ken Dorsey had a play sheet made by Madden 23 and he went to the Madden suggests option in the playbook on the offensive side of the ball on a 4th and short, the first play at the top of Madden, what is it called? Madden suggest? I know it's not called Madden suggest. Someone please tell me before I lose my shit. The Madden, oh my God, play call Madden. What is it called? Please tell me what the play call. Please tell me in Madden what it's called when you choose plays from that Madden suggests you. Please tell me. Regardless, at the top of that suggestion sheet in Madden, hypothetically, would be the quarterback power every time. It would be, just because it would take into account what play would work for your given football team. And it would be that. And we get away from it. We don't use it. That 4th and 2, when Josh threw that pick, in my opinion, that should 100% have been a quarterback power or quarterback sweep. That should have been in Josh Allen's hands to get the first down. That would ice the game. He gets that first down, we score. I mean, we ice the game there. But, we don't. It is what it is. Jamison Crowder broke his foot, I think, right? Diggs loves Minnesota. I like your I like your profile picture. 4th and 18. Why not double teams? Yeah, Justin Jefferson needed to have 14 sets of hands in his face at some point, and he didn't. We talked about this earlier as well. Justin Jefferson went 10. Holy shit! I just looked at the Justin Jefferson went 10 for 193. Dude's a freak. Credit. Props. Jefferson deserves the love. It was just frustrating from a Bills fan's perspective, watching him only having to beat Cam Lewis or Christian Benford. Like, no shit Justin Jefferson's going to baptize Cam Lewis every single chance he gets. No shit Christian Benford's going to give up separation to Justin Jefferson on the inside. No shit. I mean, we needed to be putting Justin Jefferson. I mean, do you guys know that meme of Calvin Johnson? Hold on. Let me find it real quick. I'm going to find it. Calvin. This is what we needed to do. Hold on. Let me find it real quick. This is exactly what needed to happen in this game down the stretch. On that 4th and 18, this is what needed to happen. Hold on. I'm saving it. I'm sorry. I'm not fast. I'm getting there. I promise. Pressure. I don't like it. Okay, wait. Overlay. Okay. This is what we needed to do to Justin Jefferson on that 4th and 18. This is what we needed to do to Justin Jefferson the whole second half. Put Justin Jefferson in Calvin Johnson's spot. That's what needed to happen. I mean, Justin made a point earlier. Justin made a good point. Leslie Frazier, it seems like he's stubborn at points. And today it kind of felt like it. Like I said, the X's and O's, the defense side of the ball, don't watch the film because we don't have it. I don't know what was going on. I don't. All I know is that it seemed like 2 + 2 = 4, It seemed like, if there's someone stabbing you in the chest, if you're not dead, you should probably try and stop him. If there's someone shooting at you, hypothetically, if you're playing a Call of Duty game, and someone's shooting at you, like you either shoot back or you get out of the way and you do the common sense thing and try and stop that from happening. It seemed like we weren't all about that. We allowed Justin Jefferson to do what he wanted to do. We allowed Justin Jefferson to put Cam Lewis in a body bag. We allowed Christian Benford to have to try and guard the dude one-on-one. These guys aren't going to be able to do it, and I don't blame them. That shouldn't be their role, one-on-one, granted. It just felt like at times, like I said, 2 + 2 = 4. It just felt like it. And we oversimplified a lot, or overcomplicated, I'm sorry. It felt like. Oh, man. Mike says JC is the man when he plays, but he's also always hurt with the Jamison Crowder. Yeah, Jamison Crowder, I thought was a huge addition. I thought Jamison Crowder was going to really fill in that Cole Beasley role, and I honestly think he could have got to that point had he not gotten hurt. Hey, congrats, man. I don't know if you're still in here, but nevertheless, congrats to the Vikings for making the Bills pay for letting them hang around. I mean, that's all I can say. Raleigh, what's going on, homie? Sometimes our offensive and defensive schemes just don't make sense. We let so many third and long plays complete, and Josh Allen just threw it in triple coverage for the pick at the end. Yeah. I blame that. I don't know if the play call is necessarily to blame on the pick that Josh Allen threw, but yeah, Josh Allen certainly needs to, like I said, we talked about it, get his head out of his ass. I can't believe Justin Jefferson had 193 receiving yards. That's fucking nuts. I mean, the only time I see a stat line like that, I think it's like normal, is Tyreek Hill at this point. And not that Justin Jefferson is incapable, but my Lord. Oh man. What a tough way to go down. Yeah, Trey White, another talking point. I thought Trey White was going to play today. Seeing Josh Allen come out and play, I thought we would see Trey White. I mean, I'm not sure how much longer it's going to take. I thought when Trey White originally got injured, I thought it was possible that, Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving time period of this season could be when we see Trey White back. But, for the most part, it sounded like Trey White's recovery was well on track, throughout the entire offseason, at the beginning of the year. It's from what I read, what I heard, Trey White was on track, recovering well. And to me, at least, that told me that I thought Trey White would be back soon. And in a game against, last week against the Jets, I thought there was a chance he could play. But at the same time, I knew we would go into that game with the mindset of it's the Jets. And of fucking course, we lost with that same mindset. But I thought this game, we'll probably play who can play. Matt Milano played, had that oblique. He played. Josh Allen, elbow, played. I thought Trey White would fall under that umbrella, and I guess not. And now we go into this game, and unfortunately, we suffer another huge injury to Tremaine Edmonds, which, we talked about earlier. Tremaine Edmonds, there were two plays in this game that I thought, two big moments in this game that I thought really made the biggest difference would be, and they coincide with each other, in my opinion. Tremaine Edmonds going down with an injury and Dalvin Cook's 81-yard rush. Those were the two plays the two things in my mind that really turned the tides of this game. Once Tremaine Edmonds went down, suddenly we couldn't stop the run. Dalvin Cook goes for 81, and then all of a sudden the run starts gashing us, and then all of a sudden Kirk Cousins looks more comfortable. It all coincides. Those were the two biggest things in this game that really sucked. Wayne says, I feel like it wouldn't have mattered if the game would have ended in a tie, because if the game was a tie, both teams would have lost. I feel like McDermott didn't want to see a tie. So I don't think McDermott has anything to do with the call there by Josh to throw that ball. I think Josh just made a simpleton read thinking that Gabe Davis was going to be open on a play that they have connected on many of times in their relationship together. And he forced a ball that didn't need to be there, and he got picked. I've talked about it before, something that Josh Allen has suffered with in the past. It's called the Superman syndrome. It's pretty much where, Superman syndrome to me is a quarterback that tries to do so much to where it hurts. And he just ends up blowing it. He ends up doing the complete opposite of what he was intending to do. He's trying to do almost too much and trying to make too many big plays instead of just taking what he's given, instead of, making the simple play, or, just doing too much, I guess is pretty much what it comes down to. And Josh Allen ran the ball twice, got us in field goal range in overtime in an instant, and suddenly he wants to push the ball downfield into a window that wasn't open. So, I think that just falls on the Superman syndrome. Honestly, if we want to get technical, this just popped in my head. If, I'm putting myself in Josh Allen's shoes, right? Let's think of it this way. If you are Joshua Patrick Allen, you are looked at as potentially the best quarterback in the NFL, in the MVP conversation. You want to, coming out of the last 6 quarters in which you lose to the Jets and had a bad second half against the Packers, you come into this game, you want to prove something. You're ready. And he did that in the first half. But then as the second half went on, things started to once again come to a halt and struggling began to happen. But, so you're Josh and you're thinking, okay, now I got to make a play. You fumble the ball in the end zone, and that compiles into everything. And now all of a sudden the Vikings are in the lead. So now to me, if you're Josh, you make that mistake. You're thinking to yourself, I'm the reason why we're behind right now. I'm the reason why this game isn't over. I'm sure these thoughts have crossed through his mind. He's a human being. So now he gets into overtime, despite the fact that he did drive us down the field to get us into field goal range. He gets into overtime. He gets the ball back. What does he want to do? He wants to be the hero. And I don't blame him. I blame him for making a bad read, but I don't blame him for trying to win the game. It was a bad choice. There was a time and place for a throw like that, and that wasn't it. But, I think just looking at the chain of events dating back to the second half of the Packers game, I could see a human being thinking, if I get this touchdown here, everything's resolved. Everything's fine. I can't have just a field goal here. I want to win us this game. And hence Superman syndrome, hence doing too much. I can see that chain of thinking happening in any human being, because as much as Josh Allen may be an alien, as much as Josh Allen may not be like the rest of us normal people in terms of from a physical standpoint, he's still mentally just like the rest of us. He's still mentally a human being. He definitely has stronger mental fortitude than me, because I can't read a take on Twitter sometimes without wanting to engage in physical altercation, but he is still a human. So he made a mistake, pressure on his shoulders. Bottom line still, this is a business. This is your job. Get your fucking head out of your ass. You play both sides. You can give him the sympathy for a second, but that can't happen. Get your head out of your ass. You need to turn it around. That's just what it is. I never won for the NFL's rigged situation, but that fumble on the goal line was just so out of this world. Made me start thinking, dude, there have been so many moments this season. There have been so many moments in the NFL this year that have made me think this shit is rigged. Like I am the complete opposite of thinking this shit's rigged. Like whenever somebody tells me they think professional sports are rigged, and there are a large group of people, there might be somebody in this chat right now that thinks that. I get mad. I do. But seeing the shit, especially, and what gave me a new perspective, ironically enough, is sports betting. I have gained such a new perspective for the rigged group of people that think professional sports are rigged, because I started sports betting. And I just started to see the convoluted, unimaginable bullshit that just shouldn't be happening. And I wouldn't notice some of these things because I wasn't betting prior. But now, I'm sports betting, paying attention to the dumbest shit. And I see stupid ass shit cost me money. And I'm thinking, that doesn't compute. That doesn't make sense. And of course, I default to, this shit's got to be rigged. I mean, and I thought that the Buccaneers losing to the Steelers earlier this year was one of those moments. I'm looking at that game. There has never been a bigger lock in the history of history. The Tom Brady Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers with Kenny Pickett, Najee Harris, who's playing like a moron, an offensive line that has looked terrible, and then a defense without TJ Watt, without half of their secondary, including Minkah Fitzpatrick, who I think missed that game. And the Bucs lose after the fact. Wait, was the Panthers game after? What? Was the Panthers game after? Either way, the Bucs losing to the Panthers and the Steelers, two of those moments where I'm thinking, like, this shit can't be real. This shit can't be. Oh, just got a tweet. Jonathan Taylor must be going crazy. Somebody want to update me with Jonathan Taylor's stat line right now? I have him in one of my games, and I kind of need him. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, the whole professional sports are rigged thing. I'm not big on that, but ever since I've started sports betting and I've just been watching the NFL the last year and a half and how crazy it's been, I sometimes just can't compute some of the shit that goes down. But getting back on track here. My personal takeaways from this game. Oh, great, a bot. Put user in timeout. Block user. Bye, bot. Bro moment. KJ, how are the 49ers aren't playing right now. That's prime time, right? Yeah, bro moment is right. bruh moment. If you're, I don't know if you're talking about the bot or the loss to the Vikings. This was a bruh moment, to say the least. So my biggest takeaways personally from this game at the end of the day, like I said, if you guys have any other thoughts or questions, definitely leave them in the comments. But my final takeaways from this game include that we're okay. We're a team that's obviously struggling mentally, but we're also a team that has suffered a large number of significant injuries on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm hoping when we get healthy, things will change. Plays will be made. JT 66-yard touchdown just now. Let's go. But my biggest takeaways, long story short, is we're going to be fine. We might be third in the division right now, but we're fine. We're injured. We're going through a rough patch, which seems to be our MO. For whatever reason, we seem to suffer these types of losses, these types of, terrible games. It just seems to be our MO, which is what we do. We'll heat up. We'll get healthy. I'm just worried about Josh Allen's mindset right now, truthfully, where he's at mentally and how he's going to be able to fight through this adversity. I believe wholeheartedly that he'll be able to do it, but it's going to be a lot. Space. I'll get to your point in a second, Raleigh. Do you think the loss of Jamison Crowder has been overlooked? Seems like Allen had a lot of trust in him. I do think the loss of Jamison Crowder certainly hurt. I personally think the way the season would have went, Jamison Crowder would have taken the role of being that slot receiver and eventually dominated the snap side of it. I think he's a lot more fit to be that guy than Isaiah McKenzie is, although Isaiah McKenzie played well today. When he got the ball, he made the play, so credit to him. But I do think Jamison Crowder would have eventually started to dominate that slot receiver role, the snap percentages. He would have been getting the ball a lot, earning the trust of Josh Allen. So I think it does go overlooked a little bit, but at the same time, if you would have told me that losing Jamison Crowder would have been our biggest loss this year, well, let me rephrase that. I don't think losing Jamison Crowder necessarily hurts us as much as, just our secondary pass catchers not really being as impactful as we hoped. Obviously a lot of people had a lot more faith in Isaiah McKenzie than I did, but he was supposed to play a bigger role in this offense. Dawson Knox has kind of disappeared for reasons that can be discussed. Gabe Davis has been suspect at times. He made plays today. He did, but that doesn't mean next week he comes out and makes the same impact. So I think the loss of Jamison Crowder, it goes overlooked, but at the same time, I think you kind of can just lump it in with the fact that the whole secondary pass catching group outside of Stephon Diggs, it's not been the most helpful overall in the season. This game they were there when we needed them to be. But in other instances, they have not. So a short answer, yes, but no, because I lump it in with the rest, if that makes sense. Raleigh says, Josh just needs to not throw the bad picks like he has the past couple of weeks, but yes, our defense injuries are huge, and we still need to keep game in close reach. Yeah, I mean, he's had too many brain farts lately. And I think those are fixable brain farts. I mean, he's doing shit that he shouldn't do, but these are fixable things. That's what we need to keep in mind here, people. Josh Allen making brain farts, they're fixable things. I am concerned about where he is mentally right now, but that doesn't mean they're not fixable. That doesn't mean that Josh Allen can't get right. He's faced adversity before. It's not like there are situations where you're looking at Josh and you're like, oh man, if only he was bigger, he could have made a play. If only his arm was stronger. If only he was more accurate. That doesn't happen with Josh Allen. It's just he can't do dumb shit. It's as simple as that. And I think he'll get back to he'll get back to playing some smarter offense. And who knows? Is it time that we start to question Ken Dorsey? I'm getting to a point where I think it would be fair to question what's happening in the second half in the red zone with the offense. I think it's getting to a point, despite the struggles of Josh Allen, that we need to acknowledge, is something going on behind the scenes with Ken Dorsey? Is Ken Dorsey not setting this team up for success the way we need him to help Josh Allen make an easier read, to scheme open one of our playmakers to their strength? Dawson Knox was second on our team in touchdowns last year. He is non-existent in the red zone. That should not be how it is. He's non-existent, period. But in the red zone, second or third in touchdowns last year, 8 or 9 of them, and now he's gone. That is something that deserves to be looked at. Why we haven't scored a touchdown in the second half since week 6 needs to be looked at. Why Josh Allen suddenly has thrown 4 red zone interceptions after not throwing any in a long period of time needs to be looked at. It is now time, fair to say, that Ken Dorsey deserves to be looked at, criticized, put under the microscope, because I think we are quickly chalking it up to Josh just making mental errors, but we don't know what Josh is seeing. We don't know necessarily what was put out on the field for him. It's time. I think it's fair. Be ready to hear Jets and Fins talk about, but yeah, I'm prepared. I'm ready for this insufferable, toxic, murderous week on social media. I'm embracing it as we speak. It's going to be a long one, but golly, kill me. It's going to be tough. Mikey, what's going on, man? For some reason, I'm still positive. It took all that plus the injured defense to beat the Bills. Josh needed to do better. Heartbreak, but I think we're okay. I agree. Yeah, I mean, you make a very good point. The Vikings are a 7-1 football team, considered one of the best right now, at least, by a public standard, not to mine, but a good team. It took miracle on top of miracle, blunder after blunder by the Buffalo Bills for the Vikings to win. So that is a true takeaway. We need to keep that in mind, folks. We are a very good team still. The Vikings are also a good team. It took a lot for them to take us down, and it was in miracle fashion. The red flags deserve to be raised, but we're going to be fine. I don't feel as bad because it's only regular season, postseason. I mean, if this was a postseason game, I think a lot of people are. I think that. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but I think there's like bad things that would happen in the city of Buffalo if this is how we lost. If this was our postseason game, elimination game, like I mean, people would turn into maniacs if this was the way we lost a postseason game after what happened last year. If this is how we got eliminated from the playoffs, safe to say the crime rate would probably rise in this city because people would actually lose their shit. Actually lose their shit. I hate hearing the word heartbreak because it feels like the Bills love them. Yeah, I mean, we have been subject to heartbreak lately. We can talk, whether we're talking about the current century Buffalo Bills or the 90s. We all remember the Houston Texans, the early Josh Allen playoff game against the Houston Texans. I would define that as heartbreaking. After we unfortunately didn't sack the PEDO, and Matt Milano bounced off of him. That was tough. That I would consider that heartbreak. I would consider what else was heartbreak? I would consider the loss to the Cardinals where DeAndre Hopkins baptized 3 guys in the end zone. I would consider that heartbreak. This was heartbreak. Obviously, the playoff game last year was heartbreak. It's been a tough tenure. As great as it's been, as grateful as I am, we have suffered big losses, heartbreaking losses that have hurt big time. Heartbreak for the Cardinals. Yeah, that was tough, man. That was a really tough pill to swallow. Talk about disbelief. Oh my God, seeing all of those guys in one area and seeing DeAndre Hopkins somehow rise above everyone else. That was tough. Mikey says, if we can fix our offensive play calling, I think we're still Super Bowl favorites. Yeah, I think we are. We're still in the Super Bowl conversation. If Josh Allen's able to, figure his shit out, if the Buffalo Bills are able to keep in mind, or if Ken Dorsey is able to keep in mind that we have plays that work, that not necessarily getting away from what, we're good at, hopefully we'll be able to get back on track. Are Cowboys winning versus Packers? I'm not sure. Personally, I haven't been paying attention to the NFL in the last few minutes other than this. So, but yeah, if you guys have any other questions, comments you guys want to drop down there, feel free. to drop him down there. I don't want to beat this dead horse. It was a tough loss. Odell Beckham Jr. still is on the table, in my opinion. We need to go get Odell Beckham Jr. I think he doesn't solve the brain farts by Josh Allen, but he definitely opens a lot for this offense. So I think Odell Beckham Jr. is still on the table. Justin Jefferson definitely is worthy of all the praise he's going to get this week. Social media is going to be unbearable, so prepare for that. But there's no need to panic. Remain level-headed. We lost to the Patriots after Mac Jones, our rookie quarterback, threw 3 passes. It's been bad. That was heartbreak. I would consider that heartbreak. We've had our moments, guys. We've had our moments. So let's keep in mind that we're going to be fine. We'll get hot. And, yeah. So Bills love playing in the best game. We have a knack for making games. We are professional entertainers. The Buffalo Bills are professional entertainers. We are very good at entertaining the opponent or entertaining the fans. That's not ours. We're good at making games good. Whether that's a good thing for us or not, I guess is up for conversation. But we are good at making games entertaining. And we watch football to be entertained, do we not? It might have sucked. It sucked. Today that might not be the case, but we do make games very entertaining very, very often. But yeah, do we beat the Browns? Another comment. Here we go. Do we beat the Browns? Nick Chubb is lethal. I don't even know anymore. The Bills. Yeah, we'll beat the Browns. I'm still confident. The Miami Dolphins just beat the Browns to a pulp. We might struggle to stop Nick Chubb on the ground, but I don't think that Browns defense is great. I think we'll be able to get. I think we'll get right. If we lose to a team in the Browns, then I think there will really be a cause for panic. Then we'll have played what would have probably be 12 quarters of 10 because we played a good first half today, but about 10 quarters of poor football. I don't think we lose to the Browns. If we lose to the Browns, we'll be in big trouble. I'm booking us for a win next week for sure. All right. So, like I said, any other last questions, comments, I'll be happy to cover them, but I'm going to probably go eat dinner, try and forget this one, try and move on. Tough loss, but it is what it is. Everybody stay calm, stay level-headed. We're going to be fine. But yeah, that'll be it for me. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Have a good week. We'll be back next week. I might go live after tomorrow night's game as well to talk some more. So prepare for that. The Cave on Tuesday. I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams. So if you guys are available later on in your night, I'll be here. So if you guys want to pop in, I'll be happy to shoot the shit and have some conversation. But thank you for everybody for joining. I appreciate all the thoughts, the comments. Get through this together. And I'll talk to you guys probably tomorrow night. Go Bills.